here today, again, update you on what's going on because I believe that you're not being updated. So that's the purpose for being here. On April 16, 2008, there was only one thing I was concerned about. On that day, it was Mr. White asking me to remove my Bible from my classroom. Several weeks, months after that, allegations were heaped on me, such as teaching religion, having a healing session, an exorcism, teaching creationism, intelligent design, and allegations of burning and praying crosses on students. And even going as far as to say I held the arm down to do it. All this during class time. You have to ask the question, what makes sense? If you really want to find out what happened that day in Zach Dennis's 8th period science class, an investigation would include gathering the eyewitnesses' accounts of students in that class that day. That is what would make sense. However, when H&R called, did their investigation, they did not interview any students in that class. The only person interviewed was Zach Dennis that day. Question is, why not? Well, on the state hearing that took place on April 29th and the 30th, 2 weeks ago, after 2 years of hearing, our attorney presented 10 eyewitness students onto the witness chair who were all in that class that day, and they testified on what happened in that classroom. Some of these eyewitnesses or students were only a few feet away from me when I taught. School's attorney, Mr. Millstone, never had any students testify except for Zach Dennis. There were eyewitnesses in that class. What did the students say and who was actually in the class with Zach? Okay, Mr. Hamilton, my attorney, he got affidavits, 10 of them, all written statements, and also they were on the witness chair. Again, this is just 2 weeks ago. 1, did Mr. Freshwater teach about religion? All 10 students said no. 2, did Mr. Freshwater hold up his Bible in class and preach or talk about it? All 10 students said no. 3, did Mr. Freshwater teach creationism and intelligent design? All 10 students said no. Did Mr. Freshwater show you a video called Watchmaker? All 10 students said no. Did Mr. Freshwater burn, brand, or tattoo a cross on students? All 10 students said no. Is that time? Can I take my wife's time? She signed up next. We already had a precedence on that, I do believe. I only had, to be honest with you, that's all I have. Yes? Okay. 6, did Mr. Freshwater hold Zach Dennis's arm down or anyone's arm down on an overhead? There was 9 students said no. 1 of them said he was not paying attention. 7, and finally our attorney asked each student, if I told you that Zach Dennis made all of these allegations, every one of these allegations he made, what would your response be? Students said John did not ever do any of those things in class. And several even answered by stating that Zach Dennis was a liar. One student testified she received a text message from Zach Dennis. And she stated that Zach texted her back and wrote, my mother, Jennifer Dennis, blew this all out of proportion. I realize this is all sworn statement on the witness chair, and the kids were as nervous could be. 10 of them. And by the way, there's 4 others that did previous year. So we have 14. More coming. The Mount Vernon School Board said they based their resolution to suspend me without pay on June 2008 based on H&R on-call investigation report that never even interviewed any student who were in that classroom. Today I'm going to give you a copy of each 10 affidavits of the students who were in that classroom just a few feet away from it. I'll give them to you at the end. Because you're not being updated on the information. I would really suggest reading it and looking at it. These are the students. They weren't coerced, they weren't manipulated. This is their statements. If you want more, I'll give you the other 4 students from the previous year. You will see in the packet that I have also included the Dennis proposal for settlement. One stated that would accept $150,000 with quite a lengthy statement that wanted John to sign saying basically their son was not a liar. How could I sign that? When you have 10 eyewitnesses saying he is. And if you wouldn't do that, then they would accept $600,000. Interesting, says they have always said that they didn't want the money. They only wanted to protect their son and their daughter and the children. Somewhere along the line of board members who were in office when this took place in June 2008 were not paying attention, were quick to follow the past board president's agenda without bothering to ask some serious questions. Instead, you have continued. Thank you for your time.
My questions were answered, so you can discuss me all.